What I see so often on the interwebs is usually the best of intentions. I love people who want to help other people. That is a beautiful thing, and it's usually rooted in good intentions. Like the case of someone losing a bunch of weight and then they feel compelled to help other people. So do you struggle to maintain weight loss but desperately want to feel good in your own skin, confident in your clothes, and improve your overall health? If so, you're home. Hey, I'm Sam, dietitian, specialist in weight management, and former functioning fat girl. I learned the secret of how to lose and maintain weight by simply nourishing my life well. If you're ready for the sustainable nutrition strategies, consistent habits, and freedom from a self-sabotaging mindset, grab your water bottle and let's go. Friends, are you stuck? You need a lifestyle audit. I'm so happy to offer a 1-hour one-on-one coaching session that I call the Winning at Weight Loss Breakthrough Session. During this session, I audit all the different aspects of your day-to-day lifestyle and intake. I compare that with your goal and what you tell me is the main problem you're facing with your health journey, and I coach you on the most simple, realistic thing you can implement immediately to finally break through and start making progress towards lasting weight loss. You'll get a recording of our session, a handout recapping your game plan, and I'll check in with you 1 week later to see how it's going. This is such great value that I only have 10 spots per month available. Click the link in the show notes to book your Winning at Weight Loss breakthrough session as soon as possible so you don't miss out. Stop spinning your wheels trying to throw spaghetti at the wall, no pun intended, to find something that finally kickstarts your progress. Get your simple lifestyle audit in your breakthrough session and start winning at weight loss. I can't wait to meet you. Click that link in the show notes and let's hop into today's episode. Nutritionist, dietitian, health coach, weight loss coach, macro coach, all the coaches. What's the difference? Who is the best person to help me lose weight? How do I know I'm getting the best value for my time and money? Does any of this sound familiar? Have you ever wondered what the heck the differences are and what do all those letters stand for? Well, welcome back to another episode of the pod, my friends. I'm going to be breaking down all of that for you today. Last episode, we talked about influencer red flags to look out for. And today I'm going to do a deep dive into credentials and whether or not they matter when choosing who to entrust to help you on your weight loss journey. I believe this information will be especially critical for you now that we're in the holiday season and quickly approaching, I cannot believe it, but approaching the new year, when everyone and literally their grandmother wants to start a weight loss journey. It seems like these days, anybody who's ever eaten food and or lost a pound of weight fancies themselves an expert when it comes to the world of weight loss, health, and nutrition. Unfortunately, there can be a very real, very dangerous consequence, both physically and mentally, if you find yourselves trusting in the wrong person. Not to mention the fact that you can just simply be wasting your precious time and money in the wrong hands, right? So I'm going to break down the three main hats, if you will, that people fall under and explain the differences, the benefits, the drawbacks, red and green flags, and so on in each category, and hopefully give you a much better insight into what you're looking for on your weight loss journey. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. First up is the term that I believe is most commonly used and also commonly used incorrectly. I've heard nutritionalist used more times than I can count, and that is definitely not a word. But nutritionist is. There are a million different nutrition certifications online that you can get to be able to use certain credentials, but the bottom line is most states don't have any regulation to use the term, meaning anyone can deem themselves a nutritionist and start charging people for services. And then there are some states that require licensure with the state, but all that means is basically you pay a fee to the state and boom, you're a nutritionist. Magic! The next term is registered dietitian. So if you've ever seen the letters RD or RDN in a person's title, that's registered dietitian. To become an RD, a person has to complete an Ascend accredited bachelor's or master's program, complete over 1,000 hours of supervised practice, earn at least a master's degree, which actually just started last year in 2024. Prior to that, you could have a bachelor's. I have a bachelor's. Pass the national boards, the Commission on Dietetic Registration exam, basically, and maintain ongoing continuing education for every 5-year cycle. Also, every dietitian is a nutritionist. That's what the RDN stands for, Registered Dietitian Nutritionist. But every nutritionist is not a dietitian. Dietitians are not just people who are like into healthy eating. We are clinical nutrition experts trained in medical nutrition therapy, behavior change, and the ability to translate complex science into sustainable everyday habits. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit lengthy, but this is why it's so important to know the difference between someone who has an educational background in this topic and someone who just kind of decided that's what they wanted to do that day. Okay. So dietitians are masters in human biology, biochemistry, and physiology. We learn how nutrients move through the body, how metabolism works at the cellular level, how hormones, enzymes, and organs interact, how disease states alter nutrition needs, how medications and nutrition interact. This is a medical level science that allows dietitians to create safe and effective plans for their peeps, their patients, or their clients, whichever term you use. We provide medical nutrition therapy. This is something only RDNs are legally allowed to do. They can interpret labs, adjust nutrition for disease states, create therapeutic interventions, monitor nutrition-related side effects, and collaborate with physicians on treatment plans. They treat conditions like diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, GI disorders like IBS, celiac, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, kidney disease, liver disease, PCOS, and endocrine disorders, cancer, malnutrition, obesity and weight management, eating disorders, food allergies and intolerances. This is a highly, highly specialized, regulated work. Dietitians understand behavior change and habit science. We learn motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral strategies, how habits form and how to modify them, how to reduce shame, fear, and overwhelm around food, how to build sustainable lifelong patterns, how to individualize plans for real-world life. We talked a lot in the last episode about the nuances around nutrition and how to kind of personalize that for specific people. And that is what we are trained to do, is, understand like the broad spectrum of everything and be able to kind of look at that specific person, their medical history, their current medical status, any medications that they're on, how they're feeling, what all of those things, and kind of put it into practice and how we can move forward on meeting their goals. So this is the type of things that separate kind of education from that big transformation, especially in terms of weight loss, that people are looking for. Dietitians conduct and interpret nutrition assessments. We know how to gather and analyze diet recalls, food frequency questionnaires, anthropometrics, which is basically getting people's BMI. I'm sure that's a term that anybody that is in the struggle bus weight world knows the term BMI and has been confronted about their BMI, right? Waist circumference, growth charts, lab data, medications and nutrient interactions, body composition, bowel patterns, sleep, stress, activity, clinical signs of like micronutrient deficiencies. And we translate all of that again into an individualized plan for our peoples. We critically evaluate research, not TikTok trends, but actual research. Not to knock TikTok, I have learned a lot of little life hacks on TikTok, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to nutrition, we're trained to read peer-reviewed studies, interpret statistics, identify bias and misinformation, and apply only evidence-based recommendations. So we know, what is actually true versus trends. We understand food science and culinary techniques. We learn food composition, cooking methods, and nutrient retention, food safety, menu development, recipe modification, flavor, and nutrient optimization. This helps our clients be able to, make practical changes that they can actually stick to. We create individualized nutrition plans. If you talk to any dietitian, basically, like if you use the word meal plan or somebody asks, like, can you just give me a meal plan? We all kind of have a little spasm, I think, because we don't do generic meal plans. There's no one like, here's your piece of paper, this is your diet, just do this. Because we have to account for not only, your medical background, your lifestyle, your current medical status, but we also have to consider your culture, like the food traditions, things that you actually like. So we have to honor personal preferences. Otherwise, you're not going to stick to it. We consider your budget, your time, your stress level. We adapt recommendations for food allergies, intolerances, or, specific health conditions. And we're able to build those plans, for real people, individualized people. Plans that people will actually be able to implement and maintain. We also work across the entire healthcare system. So we're trained to work in hospitals, all different areas of the hospital, ICU, oncology, cardiac, surgical. We're in outpatient clinics. We're in private practice. We're in weight management and bariatrics, public health, sports nutrition, corporate wellness, long-term care, pediatrics, eating disorder treatment, research, media, communications, brand partnerships. We're everywhere. Our skill set translates literally everywhere that food impacts health, which is basically everywhere. And, part of our job is to protect patients from harm. So with our training, dietitians are able to prevent dangerous bad diets, supplement misuse, misdiagnosis of nutrition issues, nutrient deficiencies, malnutrition, unsafe nutrition practices in medical settings, eating disorder triggers. We're very protective of our peeps, of our clients. And, last but not least, we support the whole person. So we're addressing mental and emotional relationships with food. We're addressing very sensitive issues like body image, stress, sleep, lifestyle, motivation and barriers to motivation, habit buildup over time, and a person's lived experience. We're not just teaching like nutrition. You don't have to be a dietitian to know that like fruits and vegetables are probably better choices than cake and candy. We're teaching more of sustainable, healthy lifestyle. So within the world of dietitians, we also have specialties that people can be uniquely qualified in. So for example, I am board certified in obesity and weight management. Some RDs are certified in diabetes. They're certified diabetes educators. There's specialists in sports dietetics. There's certifications in oncology nutrition, critical care, pediatrics, and so on and so on. So, this is why that we have to go to school for so long and, meet all of these requirements to get those little letters after our name, because it goes so far beyond just like, oh, you should, exercise more and eat more fruits and vegetables. The last hat, number 3, so we had nutritionist, we have registered dietitian, and now one of the most common kind of hats that people are wearing lately is the title of coach. Now, there is quite literally a coach for everything. There's weight loss coach, health coach, wellness coach, macro coach, habit coach, nutrition coach, you name it, there's a coach for it. There is absolutely zero regulation for that term here in the United States, meaning literally anyone, whether they've been educated in any way, shape, or form, can call themselves a coach and build a business around it. So very much like nutritionist, there are many, many online certification programs that someone can complete to give legitimacy to their coach title. Legally, nutritionists and coaches are not able to provide medical nutrition therapy, diagnose or treat any medical condition, interpret labs, prescribe supplements or medications, or provide therapeutic diets for disease states like diabetes, kidney disease, GI disorders, and so on. However, what a good coach or nutritionist can do is provide basic general nutrition information, support habit change, offer accountability, help clients set goals, encourage consistency, share non-medical everyday nutrition strategies, provide moral support and motivation, assist with meal planning at like a non-medical level, meaning an overall healthy person with no medical history. And they can create community with groups and programs and challenges. What I see so often on the interwebs is usually the best of intentions. I love people who want to help other people. That is a beautiful thing, and it's usually rooted in good intentions. Like the case of someone losing a bunch of weight and then they feel compelled to help other people, so they then deem themselves a quote unquote coach. So don't get me wrong, if you have personal experience in the realm of what you're coaching in, that is a wonderful compliment to your professional education. It's certainly not nothing. However, people can lose weight in many many ways, and many of them are not healthy or helpful for everyone. So if you're not educated enough in the nuances of the human body and the different needs and goals of different human bodies, then you can't possibly know how to truly help other people or what the best way to go for other people would be. And trust me, I love that people feel compelled to pay it forward and help others. Like I said, it's literally how I got started. If you don't know my story, 20 years ago, I was nearly 400 pounds and completely lost and miserable. I had gastric bypass surgery in 2007. I lost a bunch of weight, but still had no idea what I was doing. And I learned really quickly that I was going to end up right back where I started if I didn't learn how to properly take care of myself. So I just started getting really interested in learning about the science of nutrition and felt so called to help other people struggling to lose weight and get healthy that I ultimately went back to school to become a dietitian. And now that I went into the weeds on all of these titles, let me underscore this by saying something that's probably going to ruffle the feathers on both sides. I said it a little bit in the last episode, but I'm going to say it again here. Do I think all nutritionists and coaches are useless because they don't have the same educational background as a dietitian? Absolutely not. I think there are some great, very knowledgeable coaches out there. I follow many social media influencers that do talk about, health and wellness that are not dietitians. I think, certainly it is possible that there are people that can be very helpful. And on the other hand, do I think all dietitians are perfect and well qualified to help anyone lose weight? Absolutely not. There are a lot of RDs that I disagree with completely and don't believe are best suited for the weight loss world. There are no perfect people. We are all human, and like any profession, there's going to be some we jive with and some we don't. So remember, last episode we talked about some of the biggest red flags when following influencers, which are pretty much the same here, but I'm going to give you a few green flags to spot when looking for someone to work with on your weight loss journey. They're honest about their training or lack thereof. They're not, trying to pretend like they have more credentials than they do. They stay within their scope, meaning they refer out to a dietitian or doctor when a case is more involved than just general weight loss and health. They use evidence-based information, not fear-mongering, extreme diets, demonizing food groups, pushing a ton of supplements, and making unrealistic claims. They focus on behavior change, not gimmicks or trends. They speak responsibly about weight and don't shame people or make unrealistic promises. And they operate professionally with clear boundaries and transparency. One thing I do want to stress is if you have any diagnosis or conditions, especially if you take medications for them, and even more so if you have a truly extensive medical history, I would strongly encourage you to work with an RD. Even if it's just for weight loss, the RD will be able to look at your case as a whole and ensure nothing they recommend will exacerbate or interfere with your medical conditions or medications. If you're fairly healthy overall, aside from the extra weight, then you may be fine to work with a good coach or nutritionist who may not be an RD. Just make sure you do your research. So what is the best person to help you lose weight? Well, a great combination of all of those things would be your best case scenario. And not to toot my own horn or anything, but I may know someone that fits that bill. It's me. The dietitian ensures safety, personalization, and medical expertise. The nutritionist helps you understand food in a practical, real-world way. The coach provides accountability, behavior change, and mindset support. And someone who has personally lost and maintained weight loss brings that lived experience to the table. So with all four of those aspects, you are getting the most comprehensive support possible. We address all of the many different nuances and layers of weight loss, like the biological, nutritional, behavioral, emotional, psychological, practical, and personal aspects. This way, we get the best results, but even better than that, we establish the foundation necessary to maintain those results through consistency, fewer setbacks, better understanding of your body, less guilt and shame around food, more confidence, and a lifestyle that you truly enjoy and makes you feel good. This is not quick fix dieting. This is life transformation. And if you're ready for it, friends, I'm right here, wearing all those hats, ready to commit to helping you. Your first step is to schedule your breakthrough session, which you can do from the link in the show notes. But don't worry, I won't be too offended if you'd rather work with someone else. I swear. Okay, maybe a little, but not a lot. Either way, even if it's not me, make sure you do your research and vet these people before you give them your precious, precious time and money. There's nothing more frustrating than ending up right back where you started, realizing what you thought was the magic ticket turned out to be a big old waste. I know this was a lot, but I really hope it was helpful and enlightened you to the differences between all the different titles thrown around out there. Until next time, my friends, I love you. God loves you. Have a beautiful day. Hey friend, I really hope you feel empowered by this episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with another friend who needs it? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It brings me so much joy to know this podcast is helping you. Okay, time to go nourish well, aka eat some good food. I'll meet you back here next time for another episode. I love you and God loves you. Have a beautiful day.